Quazi here. In today's video, I want to share with you how I surrendered my way to becoming a millionaire, and how once I let go of trying, working so hard and pushing and shoving and grinding, and just relaxed into life and the flow of life, it took me to where I wanted to get to, where in 3 short years I was able to go from a 9-to-5 that I absolutely hated, destined to working 40 years and then retiring only then to have my life, to starting up a business that I love, making YouTube videos and making over $1 million every single year. And that allowed me the freedom to do what I wanted, when I wanted, how I wanted, with whoever I wanted. With this kind of freedom, now I can do more of the things that I love and express it even more. And in today's video, I want to share with you exactly how you can use this to completely surrender, to ease into a joyous life that was meant for you. To start with, I want to begin with a simple quote that an ancient book, and I'm going to paraphrase this quote because it's in a different language, it's in Sanskrit. It was from the Bhagavad Gita, which was written around 400 BCE. And the quote goes something like, "You have the right to work, but for the work's sake only. You have no right to the fruits of work. Desire for the fruits of work must never be your motive in working. Never give way to laziness either. Perform every action with your heart fixed on the Supreme Lord. Renounce attachment to the fruits. Be even-tempered in success and failure. For it is this evenness of temper which is meant by yoga. Work done with anxiety about results is far inferior to work done without such anxiety. In the calm of self-surrender, seek refuge in the knowledge of Brahma. They who work selfishly for results are miserable." So this quote woke me up to the inevitability of effort and surrender. Learning how to put effort in whilst being fully surrendered, fully unattached to the outcome. Because I remember when I was starting up my business, I worked and I worked and I worked and I burned myself down to the ground thinking that that's what would do it. Taking massive action would do it. But if taking massive action was the only way, then people who work 80-hour weeks in construction or janitorial services would be the richest people in the world. When in reality, it's less about work, 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 hard, hard, hard. It's more about what's beyond the work. It's about who is showing up to do the work. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly that. To begin with, we're going to have to understand the 3 different types of archetypes and which one you fall under. And then what you're going to learn are 3 main ways to properly surrender, which literally no one knows how to do. Because there is an intellectual surrender, surrendering the mind, but there's also an emotional surrender, surrendering your body, okay? Your heart, giving it fully to what you want. I'm really, really excited to share this with you. Let's get started. So to understand the 3 different archetypes, we have to understand this concept of the flow of life. Your life right now has a flow. It's flowing in a particular direction. Sometimes it may go to places where you like, other times it may not take you to places that you like. But that's okay, because life knows best, okay? Wherever you're being delivered, you just trust that this is the right place for you to be at the right time. No matter what you're going through right now. Just understand that God has a greater plan for you. The 3 different types of people pertains to how their relationship to the flow. The very first type of person is what's known as the indignant, the person who gets swept away by the flow. Okay, so they get swept away to wherever the flow takes them. And sometimes the flow takes you to places you don't necessarily want to get to, and that's completely fine. But this indignant person feels apathetic to that and just thinks that it's their lot in life. They in a very unconscious way, resist this flow of life. On the other hand, you have the fighter, the person who battles the flow of life at every single turn. Every single thing is an uphill battle, an uphill climb for them. I used to be this kind of person. It was always a battle, it was always a fight. I always thought I had to beat something and beat someone and compete against something and compete with someone, until I woke up to the truth, which was you don't have to do any of that. The only person you have to compete with is who you were yesterday. And even that itself is not necessary, okay? The perfect archetype is neither the indignant nor the fighter. The best archetype I've found that has completely changed my life is the archetype of the wizard or the reality creator. This is the person who is sort of navigating the flow of life, except they adjust their sail, right? So if you imagine a sailboat, how it works is there are times when you put up your sails, there are times when you take down the sails because the flow is taking you to the right place. Or there are times when you don't adjust the sail of the boat You just leave it as it is. But then there are other times you make minor adjustments. The very reason people never achieve what they want is because they don't understand two simple words: course correct. They don't understand how to course correct. Instead of trying to course correct and directing reality, what do? They try to control every little aspect of reality. Okay? So most people, when something in their current reality isn't going the way that they want, they immediately try to choke it by the neck and control it and try to make it into something that it is not, instead of letting it evolve into what they would like to see. They don't know how to channel reality. Now, I know I'm speaking very, very esoterically, but to properly understand this, you have to investigate your life right now. When something terrible happens, if you try to fight it or resist it, you're giving something energy that's already done and gone, because this present moment is continually becoming past. The only thing that's in your power is to choose that next moment that's upcoming. So as reality creators, our focus has to shift from trying to resist present and trying to resist the past and change it. It has to go from changing to choosing. Instead of trying to change things, choose. Choose what you want. Choose who you would like to become. Stop trying to change yourself. Stop trying to change your spouse or your partner or your friends or your family. Choose what you would like to experience, okay? And learning to choose has to do with coming from a place of emptiness, because if your cup is already full, you can't fill it up any further. And so where that leads me to is understanding these three different methods to properly surrender your resistance. And the very first of which is learning the concept of importance. Okay, so when we learn to deal with our importance levels, we're mentally surrendering it. Okay, so the mind is at work. And what I mean by that is whenever you put something on a pedestal, you want to make a certain amount of money in your business, you want to quit your job and you want to go into your business full time, you want to get the kind of relationship that you want, the kind of health that you want to get out of debt, you have a lot of importance to one thing in your life, okay? And for me, what I always dealt with for a very long time was my business. Anything happened to the business, it would affect me personally, because my business is my baby and I work so hard on building it, right? And I've always been in this fight mentality, like I have to fight to earn my place under the sun. So mentally, anything that would happen to my business would affect me deeply, and it would just make me anxious, and my identity was deeply tied to it. And to some extent it still is. But I've gotten a lot better than I was, and I'm getting even better and better now. But it took me a long time to fully grasp this, which when you remove importance, you start to see that things just happen effortlessly. Have you ever noticed how anything that you just had valued for a really long time, you really wanted it, but then one day you just forget all about it. And then it just spontaneously manifests. Why? Why is it that when we forget about something, it manifests? Here's why. When we have importance towards anything in our lives, we generate an imbalance in the field of the universe. So if you think about the field of the universe and you think about it as little lines that are all uniform, when your thought energy puts something on a pedestal, you're making it very concentrated. The field of the universe gets very concentrated at that point because your thought energy is creating this imbalance. When we create this imbalance, what Mother Nature wants to do is balance it out. It wants to come in and remove this imbalance. And it looks at who is causing this imbalance, which is this individual via their thought energy, okay? So what's the easiest way to eliminate this importance? To eliminate this individual that's causing this imbalance, right? If you're disturbing Mother Nature will want to eliminate you. But it does so by taking the thing that you desperately want, the sale you wanted to close, the text you wanted to get back, or the attention you wanted from the partner that you put on a pedestal. It takes that person further and further away from you. It takes that deal further and further away from you. It does this because that's the easiest possible way to balance out the imbalance in the field of the universe. Okay? The key here is to understand anything that you put on a pedestal, you're creating a resistance to. So what's the solution? The solution is to lower importance by accepting failure in the first place. So I want you to take a moment to think about this. If you really want a particular outcome, you want to quit your job and you really want to make this business work, and you've given it your heart, you've given it everything for the past 10 years to make this business work, but it's still not working, and now you're faced with its inevitable death Of course, it's going to make you feel sunk cost. It's going to make you feel like this is the most important thing in the world. And that's exactly when you start to fall into the trap. That's when you put it on a pedestal and you make it more important than other things in your life and other things in relationship to you. So if you get to a point and you flip the script and you say, you know what, this could fail. I fully accept it. And you even envision the failure scenario. That's completely fine. This could just completely flop, and that's okay. It's just like public speaking. You know, I could just, if I go up in front of a stage and prior to going up, I could be really nervous. Oh, I could just totally fuck it up. I could just totally fail. But then if I walk on stage and I'm like, hey, hi everyone, I'm actually really nervous doing this. Immediately my importance drops, right? So if you acknowledge that, yes, I might fail, and that's okay. I'm going to learn something from it. Either I succeed or I learn something that helps me succeed. In your life right now, I want you to think about the goal that you want. What's the worst case scenario? Become completely neutral to it. Fully accept it. And then that will lead you to finding a plan B, okay? So a safety net. To understand the concept of this plan B, I want to give you an example of a man walking a tightrope for the first time. When the man walks on the tightrope, what happens? If it's on a very high precipice, their importance level for their life is through the roof. If one misstep, they die. That's certain death. So therefore, that man has very high importance level. Don't make the wrong step. Don't make the wrong step. Their importance level is super high. And what Mother Nature wants to do at that point is just plunge them into their death, because that's the easiest solution to balance things out. Okay, and that's why you see all of this in sports. It comes to the final clutch free throw or the golf shot and they choke, right? The athlete chokes. Why? Because the importance level is so high. It's just so easy to miss. That's the easiest solution. The easiest solution is to throw the ball anywhere else but the net. The easiest solution is to put the ball in anywhere else but the hole, right? That's the easiest solution, and Mother Nature always forces it in that favor when your importance level is that high. This always happens. And that's why a lot of the times you see people get to the last step of creating something, and then their importance level is so high, they've come so close to it, they just somehow find a way to sabotage it. Has that ever happened to you? You get to the final stage of something, of the business, of making the kind of money that you want. And then all of a sudden, you have that one creeping doubt that's like, you're not good enough for this. And then your importance level's through the roof. And then you sabotage it. I can't tell you the number of times I've seen clients who've come to work with us who've been making $80,000 a month and then they just completely went bankrupt. Why? This is why. Because they get to that point and they don't feel worthy within themselves to be experiencing that. They haven't become the kind of person who's worthy of making and keeping $80,000 a month. So they find a way to blow it. To curb your importance level, to mentally lower importance, you have to accept failure in the first place and find a plan B. If this doesn't work out, what am I going to do instead? In my particular instance, I quit my 9-to-5 job to go all in on my business. And I didn't have a lot of capital to work with. I was fortunate enough that my parents housed me and fed me, but apart from that, I didn't have much. I just had my dad yelling at me every single day, like, what the heck are you doing? Did you make a sale? This isn't going to work, this stupid online thing. And I just felt frustrated, anxious, depressed every single day. And I just still tried to make it with that pit of anxiety. You could even see my old videos. I had this pit of anxiety in my stomach. And in the month of May of 2019 was the worst month ever. That's the month I graduated from college and I was supposed to go full-time into the job. They already gave me an offer, but I chose not to. And I told my parents, I'm going to make this business work. And that month I made nothing, absolute zero. And prior to which I was making some money. I was making 2 to 3K a month. And they were like, okay, this seems promising. But then that month I made nothing. And I just remember having a dark night of the soul. And that's when I came to this realization. When your reality is burning, you have to let it burn. You can't try to change that. Don't try to put it out. See what rises, what's left from the ashes, because you're rebuilding. When you make an intention to level up in your life, life throws all of these tests and challenges to see if it phases you, to see if it phases that intention that you made. For example, when I made the intention to have a freedom business that makes me 20K a month so I could travel the world, so I could live the life that I wanted and not be stuck at a desk for the rest of my life, I couldn't fathom it at first. It was just a dream. But I visualized, I felt this dream every single day in my bones. I felt it in my heart every single day until I found everything. It just happened spontaneously because I trusted my heart. But then I stopped trusting it. When those challenges came, I became phased and my importance level went through the roof. So I had to accept the possibility of failure in the first place. And my plan B was, at least I got my degree. At least I finished college and got a degree. So now, if anything happened, I have an engineering degree. I could potentially go out and get a job. And then in June, guess what happened? I hit my first 7K month. July was my first 12K month. August of 2019 was my first 21K month. So I made the intention in July of 2018 that by July of 2019 I would have a 20K a month business, but it took me 1 year and 1 month to get to that. And when I noticed what happened, I was in complete awe. It's like, this is unbelievable. So these 2 steps are the most important part of you lowering your importance. Because guess what happens when you lower your importance? You have intention energy available, okay? So we're gonna be discussing that just in a second. But before I get to that, I made a comprehensive reality creation movie for you that has a free guide attached to it as well. You can click this little I here or just go to the pinned comments in the description section. That shows you how I went from basically working a 9 to 5 to making $100,000 every single month with a business that I love, by shifting my identity, by becoming the kind of person who's worthy of that. It's completely free for you to access, by the way, and it has the guide in there too. My intention is to give you as much value as I can so that when you're ready, we can work together potentially and help you do this yourself through close mentorship. So the next thing we have to understand is the concept of counter intention. What I mean by that is, when we go back to the analogy of the tightrope walker, not only are they creating an imbalance in the field of the universe, they are also having a lot of counter intention. Their intention energy is working on resisting failure. 99% of their intention energy is attached to don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. Whereas 1% of their intention energy is on safely make it to the other side, get to the other side, get to the target. So have you ever noticed how when you're on a highway and you look at the car next to you as you're driving next to it, the more you look at it next to you, the more you start veering towards it? Why is that? It's because as human beings, we have this thing called target fixation. The very first time I learned this was when I was being coached by my golf professional. And he told me, Quazi, we have this mechanism, this servo subconscious mechanism. And I'm like, shit, man, you're preaching to the choir. And he was saying how they did this study of 2 groups throwing darts. One group focused for like 2 weeks, and I could be completely butchering this, for 2 weeks on just the mechanical movements of their hand to throw the dart to the target. Whereas the other group, Group B, focused on just the target and nothing about their hand. They just focus on send the dart to the target, send it to the target. In 2 weeks, Group A showed a decline in improvement. They didn't not just not improve, they declined. They couldn't hit the target as well as they did before. Group B, though, actually showed like a 20% to 40% improvement in their dart throwing abilities. I don't know what the percentage is again, but I know for a fact that they showed an improvement. So this goes to show that as human beings, we're target creatures. We've got to focus on the goal. Stop focusing on the mechanics, the hows of how to get to your goal. Just focus on the goal. The rest will take care of itself. So in this case, what is the tightrope walker focused on? They're focused on don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. What is reality here? Don't fall, 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 right? It doesn't care about don't or do. It just looks at the content of your focus. It doesn't care about the context of your focus. Reality cares about the content of your focus. So when your intention energy is tied to don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, it's like, oh, fall, fall, I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna fall, and then you do fall. In the other case, if intention energy were directed to cross to the other side safely, cross to the other side safely, then that's exactly what would happen. Cross, 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 right? Get there, and then you would move there. But if as a tightrope walker, you're just looking down the whole time you're walking, you're gonna move towards down. But if you're just looking forward, you're gonna move forward, right? So this is the importance in understanding that whenever you're focusing on a goal, you have certain counter intentions that you don't even know that are blocking you from achieving it. So take an inventory of how you're speaking to yourself. What kind of words you're using when you're thinking about your goal. Is it possible? Or are you making excuses about why it's not possible? Oh, I can't do this because me, this is this. Or I can do this, it's going to happen, just be patient. How strong are you? How many challenges are you willing to endure? How patient are you? Because it is going to happen. And I'm telling you, the thing that you want, it is going to happen beyond your wildest dreams if you have faith. If you have faith in the universe, if you have faith in God, the thing that you want to happen, it'll be beyond your wildest dreams. I only wanted to make 20K a month, okay? I just wanted to have a laptop lifestyle and travel the world. I have more money than I could have ever dreamed of at the age of 27. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal how far you can take this. It's phenomenal what can happen if you really trust the universe. God, the universe, will give you more than you could have ever imagined for yourself. You don't have to think about the goal if you don't know what it is. Just feel what it would feel to have the thing that you want. How great your life feels. How free you feel. Focus on the feeling if you don't know the thought or what it actually looks like. Because a feeling produces a myriad of thoughts, which is what we're going to get to when I show you how to surrender those bodily blocks that we hold on to. But for now, understand that most people are actually resisting failure more than they want success. You think about getting out of debt rather than having an abundance of wealth in your life. You're thinking about what you don't want more than what you do want, which is utilizing counter-intentions unconsciously. So from now on, really turn on your inner guardian and pay attention to the inner conversations you're having with yourself. Are you constantly resisting failure? Are you trying to get away from something? Are you trying to get away from the pain that is your life and all the failures and all the shit that's happening? Or are you focused on moving towards pleasure? Are you focused on moving towards the dreams that you wanted to come to life? That is the secret. Now let's go to the final part, surrender. Surrender is the process of properly handling our feelings. In the yogic sciences, there is this concept of karma. We take on a bodily form, our spirit takes on a bodily form to work out our karma. And there are different allotments of karma. We have a current lifetime worth of karma called the prarabdha, which means when we take on this physical body, a particular allotment of karma gets triggered based on our tendencies and patterns and what we think we can handle. We take it on, and we take on certain tendencies. We take on a certain womb. We're born in a certain way. Again, I can't verify this. This is what they believed. And there is, if you really study it, you're going to see that there's a certain level of truth to it. It's why certain people are a certain way and have certain personality traits. And when you do past life regression therapy, you see why there are so many people who can recall past life experiences that are familiar that they have no business recalling, right? So in understanding the process of surrender, it's learning how to properly deal with these blocked feelings, because every single one of us, we have these blocked feelings that energetically are preventing you from achieving what you want. So I have a client who isn't quite able to achieve that financial success that he wants. And that's because every time he gets close, he finds a way to sabotage it. He gets this fear, this anxiety, this lack of belief, oh, you're not good enough, it's not going to work out. And then he succumbs to it and then makes a bad decision, runs away from it, doesn't do the deal, doesn't take the thing, even though he knows that that's the right thing to do consciously. Subconsciously, he's holding on to this pain body. So we have these blocks around our body, and you'll notice this when you feel the consistent negative feelings that you feel. So if you felt a feeling of anxiety, you'll typically notice it either in your shoulders, your solar plexus area. You'll feel this blockage, like it's so strong and it's blocking you. The correct way to deal with that is what's known as the surrender method. If you find you keep attracting certain patterns into your life, and before that pattern happens, you have certain thoughts and feelings that are energetically blocking you, this is why. Before we get to this surrender method, please think about your feelings and memories. When you think about a memory, you don't actually think about the memory. You feel what that memory felt like. Every single feeling is unique. No two anxieties are the same. No two sadness and sorrows are the same. No one ever told you this, but if you really truly analyze it, you'll see that no two feelings carry the same signature, the same color. They're all different. They all have different DNAs. And that's how it's stored within our subconscious. This is the ancient secret. They knew how to manipulate different feelings for different things to create different things in their lives, how to focus on it and create it. So, in understanding this, if we have different storages within our psyche, different feelings store different memories. You'll notice that, maybe you're driving down an old neighborhood. Maybe you don't remember what actually happened here, but you can feel that feeling of what happened here. And the feeling is what leads to you recollecting the thought, the event itself. We can't store thoughts. We store it in feelings within our bodies. So now, we store these certain traumas that we picked up in our lives, certain events that have happened that we haven't properly processed. relationships, certain toxic parental dynamics, things that happened in the past regarding finances. These cycles, these toxic cycles keep happening in our lives because we unconsciously hold on to it. So now what we got to do is learn to properly handle it. How most people handle their feelings are in 4 ways. The lowest, most unconscious way is repression. That's when it's too strong to be dealt with. Something terrible has happened. You haven't dealt with it yet, which is understandable, but you have never revisited that. You've always run away from it. You're in denial. Shows up in mental, neurological declines. You just see it happening in a person that has held on to a lot. PTSD. Level above that is suppression. It's what happens before you repress something. You suppress it. You push it down. You can't deal with it right now. You can't do it. Level above that is expression. You express it. You're angry. You break something. You punch something. Someone. Still not effective. The highest level of all is surrender. Accepting it fully. Feeling it fully. Because understand there's something arising within you that is waiting to be felt. That is waiting to pass through. But you won't let it pass through because you're afraid. You're afraid of what would happen if you did. You're afraid that if you open that door, you might never come back. But that's not true. Because typically, when you open those doors, that door, you wake up even stronger. You confront your inner demons, and you come out of the other side even stronger. Whatever it is that you want lies on the other side of that fear. How we do this, the surrender method, there's a very powerful method I recently discovered, and this is called the alternating method. The method was to allow yourself to fully feel what's coming up. If you feel anxious, go to that anxiety. Don't run away from it. Go to it and go through it. So let's say something is triggering your anxiety. Let's say you got a work email or a business email or something's happening with your business right now. It's falling apart and you feel really, really anxious. Or something is happening at work and you feel really anxious. Instead of chasing the external trigger and trying to see like, come on, resolve itself, keep checking your email, keep texting the person. Instead of doing that, instead of acting externally, the methodology was to act internally, which is effective. Meaning, you go to the feeling first, instead of the thought. You can't think your way out of a problem. You can't outthink your problems. You can't outthink your thoughts. You have to outfeel it. A feeling produces a myriad of thoughts. Just like when we store memories, we store the feeling first and then that produces the thought, right? So when I feel anxious, then I try to justify the presence of that anxiety. Oh, it's being caused by this thing happening in my business. It's being caused by my relationship. I don't want another failed relationship and I don't want my marriage to fall apart. I'm going through a tough divorce. So all of these things happen because the feeling arises, which then creates imprints in this quantum field, just like with the importance, and it manifests that event because you keep that feeling alive instead of properly dealing with it. So when we properly handle it, we fully accept it, we let it be, instead of trying to let it go or pushing it away. Because when you try to let go, you're still trying to manipulate a feeling. Still ineffective. You must let it be. So the method I've recently discovered, and I'm really excited to share this with you, it's called the alternating method. And how it works, there's 4 main steps to it. Step 1, whenever you feel that strong feeling, go within your body. Okay, so I'd like to do this right now. If you just take a seat somewhere, just sit down comfortably, let's do this. Whenever you feel a strong block like anxiety, fear, worry, doubt, go within. Don't look at the thing that's causing you anxiety, go within instead. The next thing you want to do is inhale into it. Feel the feeling within your body and you inhale into it and you hold onto it tightly. That's what I want you to do. Hold onto it tightly and mentally say, give me more, I am no longer afraid. So let's do that right now. Hold onto it tight and hold your breath. And now what I want you to do is exhale and let go and release. And inhale again into it and hold on to it. Exhale and release. Inhale and hold on to it. Exhale and release. What you're going to notice is every time I do this, the feeling subsides more and more. Because now I'm training myself to alternate. And the 4th step, the final step, is to keep repeating this and take an inventory of your body and how you feel. Okay? So, whenever a strong block arises, this is a dynamic method. I want you to stop what you're doing, take a pause for 2 or 3 minutes, sit down, go within your body, feel where the feeling's happening. Breathe into it and hold on tightly, say, give me more. Give me more. And as you exhale, unclench. Exhale, release. Then inhale, clench. Exhale, release. When we focus like this, we neutralize. That's how you let go. To let go, you have to know first how to hold on. To work hard, you have to know how to rest fully. Otherwise, you're just a half zombie. You need to know how to play with duality, how to play with polarities. And what you'll notice is once you have fully surrendered these obstacles and these feelings, the corresponding event in your life changes. It's not because we desire something that we get it. It's because we make the choice to experience it, to have it. Not from a place of I need, but from a place of I am. This is who I am. So what I would like for you to do right now is to click right here and go to the reality creation movie that I made for you with the free guide in there. That's going to give you a system to shift into your ideal self, your 2.0 self. And what I do is show you the mirror principle of reality, the principle via which reality operates, the model of reality, and how your internal world is reflected in your external world. And I have a comprehensive guide completely free for you to access in there as well. So click right here to access it, and I will see you in this next video right now. Thanks.